Okay. So, look. I understand that this is who I am, okay? I look at myself in this camera, and I see what you see. Okay? But look, there's something about this specimen that makes me feel good about myself. Tim Dillon. What a fucking specimen of a man. There's no shaming going on, okay? I think he's beautiful. What a beautiful fucking train wreck of a man. Just amazing. So, Tim Dillon, whoever this fucking guy is, decided to wear a polo shirt in 2020, and then also decided that he was just going to wake up, call Candace Owens, and ask her not to do an identity politics and talk about the black conservative movement. The only thing she ever does. Talk about how she's a black person. Hey, did you know that Candace Owens is black? Did you guys know that? Chat, do we have to take a poll? By show of hands, how many people, or by show of cobs rather, how many people knew Candace Owens was in fact a black woman? Who knew that? Because I don't see color either. That's what I'm saying. I see a couple racists in chat with their cobs. I see a couple racists in chat. Objection. Candace Owens is not black. She did not vote for Biden. Oh, double whammy there. There's a twofer. Yeah, so anyway, anyway, so we're going to suffer through the next 10 minutes and 50 seconds of this video where Candace Owens on the black conservative movement, a thing I want to hear about so bad. Oh, please, Candace Owens, could you please, for once, opine to us about the black conservative experience? We have not heard you speak about this. Your silence on the subject, frankly, is a little suspect, if I might say so. Candace Owens, if that is your real name.
Do you think there's any chance that Trump pulls this out?
No.
I do, 100%.
Oh, you're stupid. Okay. I didn't realize you were stupid. Oh, yes, I did. Never mind. I was going to make a joke. No, I realize she's stupid. She's definitely stupid. Okay. Anyway.
Really,
again,
Candace? Really?
Yeah, I
Wow.
think the Supreme Court has, I have been talking about the fact that this election was going to end up in the Supreme Court since February. You can go back and watch my my interview with the Daily Caller. It might have been early March. And I have said this is the most rigged election, just looking ahead at what was down the pipeline in terms of how we were fundamentally transforming our society. I expected there to be a lot of fraud, and I expected that Trump would appeal to the Supreme Court. So at the end of the day, this is going to come down to whether or not they are able to prove, and not just prove, but be able to communicate what they are saying about the fraud. I am sorry. I don't care if you're on the left, if you're on the right. If
he tilts his head anymore, I'm going to pop off. Yeah, what is this shit? He's like at a 45-degree angle. He's like, is she black? I can't tell. Because Candace Owens never talks about it, okay? It never comes up. People don't even, someone like him, he's not going to be able to see color. That bro Rogan, no. You know what's, excuse me. You know what's interesting? I am actually incredibly surprised that Candace Owens has never been, punched in the face by somebody. Even someone that likes her. I'm very surprised by that. She's just so supremely unlikable. Very surprised. The restraint of the people around her is actually really interesting. And I'm not advocating for someone to punch her in the face. I'm just surprised. You know people like this. They get punched in the face constantly. Manatee, thanks for the 4 months. You know what I mean? It's just one of those people that just like, really, really, really surprising.
You believe that Joe Biden secured the most votes, like that there was more energy for Joe Biden than there was for Barack Obama in 2000?
Okay, so the argument is not that there was more energy for Joe Biden, of which there was not. Hasn't Trump's legal team already given up and trying to repeal, or is it still going, it's over. But this was November 30th, and today is the 6th of December, so it is a new week. Fun fact, Harry Styles did another photo shoot making fun of Candace, and she posted a screenshot of the Instagram post and gave away that she had I'm assuming they mean post, on an alt account. Nice. This is not about people liking Joe Biden. This is about people hating your candidate, Candace, and not liking you, you grifty son of a bitch. You suck. Like, does Candace Owens know how much she sucks? Like, do you think Candace Owens has a firm grasp on how much she sucks? You know how, like, Donald Trump definitely doesn't know how much he sucks? I feel like Candace Owens probably gets told she sucks enough to where I think she might understand. Like, I genuinely hope Candace Owens, although she made a lot of money, good for her, I hope she has a fucking terrible life. She's just so fucking harmful to people. She's so harmful. There's no way she has, like, friends, right? Like, Dave Rubin's your friend. What kind of friendship is that? Hanging out with Dave Rubin. You know what I mean? I don't know. She's too deep in the grift at this point. She was a lefty grifter fucking 3 years ago. Did I get my sub back? No. I think narcissism is common among grifters. Yeah, I think so too. I definitely think so. Yeah, Candace Owens is just
a gorilla.
Dog shit. Dead body love. Thanks for following. Chest hole, chest gate. Yikes.
2008. You're kidding yourself.
Well,
right?
wouldn't the argument be that it was an anti-Trump vote? Nobody was excited about Biden, but they were anti-Trump.
It wasn't because it wasn't an anti-Trump vote. You know?
Yeah, it was. Mm-hmm. What? Yeah, it was.
We know that 30% of people didn't even bother voting, right? So despite the
30% of people didn't even bother voting. Do you realize, Candace, 30% of American people not voting is crazy. That is so much. That means 70% did vote. That's nuts. That's so many people. Normally it wavers between 50 and 60%. We had more votes than ever. What are you talking about? And as it happens, more people voted for Joe Biden. 7 million more and counting voted for Joe Biden than voted for Donald Trump. You lose. You lose. I'm going to go full fucking There Will Be Blood Daniel Day-Lewis. Voting. If I have a vote and you have a vote and I walk all the way over and vote in my precinct, you lose the election. You lose. You get nothing. My favorite part of that movie is drainage. Best part.
The fact that we are completely submerged in politics, not all of America is, right? So for me, it's every day, it's day in and day out. But I also know that my cousins that live in the projects couldn't give a stuff about anything that I do. Like
my cousins that live in the projects, and then all the right-wingers go, Well, of course they live in the projects. It's interesting that she says there's no systemic racism. I have relatives in the projects. Amazing. What are the projects, Candace? Have you seen the episode of King of the Hill where Hank does? No, I have not.
My cousins, literally, I went to eat with one of my cousins. Her name's Mia, and I'm like, I was talking about Brexit, and she was like, "What's Brexit?"
I want to hang out with her. I want to hang out with her. I'm sick in LA. Everybody talking about politics. I want to go hang out with your cousins in the projects tomorrow.
What? Kokomo, thanks for following. That was really strange. What was that? I'm confused by that outburst. I think I'm just going to go back. I think we're just going to go back and listen to whatever the fuck that was.
I was talking about Brexit, and she was like, "What's Brexit?"
I want to hang out with her. I want to hang out with her. I'm sick in LA. Everybody talking about politics. I want to go hang out with your cousins in the projects tomorrow.
I don't... Gonna start screaming at every woman I meet that I want to hang out with their cousins. True! Tomorrow!
And I said to her, Mia, it's, the Brits left the European Union. And she goes, "What's the European Union?"
Yes.
So, Candace has a very real cousin named Mia who lives in the projects who is like, just totally not politics. I'm not political, and totally doesn't understand what Brexit is. Does Mia have a Twitter? So, yeah, I was going to say, Butterfeed, you either acknowledge that the poor schools don't get funded well, or you is Mia a literal infant? I have no idea. Sounds more like failure of the education system. It's actually fucking incredible.
And I was like, "I love you."
Yeah, I love her too. By the way. I want to go hang out with her. Do you?
It's fine. You haven't met her. She goes to a different school.
What explains, and I mean, you have a huge part of this. I think I tweeted that. I said Candace Owens a huge thing. Now, the black conservative movement is it's not covered by the media at all. And you're the biggest voice in it. But
well, the black conservative movement has like no people in it. So it's Candace Owens and like a few other grifters, and then their small group of victims.
There's tons of people out there, Coleman Hughes, whatever. There's a lot of different people. And the media ignores this like it's not happening.
It's not really happening. Was it like 10%? It's like 10% of black voters or something like that. It's not even. How many? Let's see. What percent of black voters are Republican? Because I'm sorry, it was 8%. 8%. Wow. Wowzers. 8%. Okay. Used to be 3 at a point? Well, sure. But as you enfranchise more people in the black community, you're going to see a wider spread, right? Is that the same in general percent for LGBT voters? I would be surprised if LGBT was that was smaller. What percent of LGBT voters are Republican? Let's see. 15% of LGBT adults are registered Republicans. Come on, gays. Come on.
Her ramble was just a gorilla.
A less on fire. Has it always been 8? It's been 8%'s an increase. 8%'s an increase, but it's 8%.
And some of the most interesting conversations that are happening online are black conservatives that are talking about American policy and disagreeing and it's very, very interesting. Trump made gains with minority voters. You know, What do you think explains that? Because we've had the most strenuous year for race relations probably in that I can remember. And Donald Trump, who's a very volatile figure, gains with minority voters. What would you attribute that to?
92% of voters are progressives. I mean, I don't know. 8% of black voters is 31,200 voters if the U.S. population is 3 million. My bumfuck town has more than that. I don't know. Did you mean 300 million? So black population, voter age. Let's see. Citizen voting age by ethnicity, blah, blah, blah. How many people are available? Oh, I don't want to do a PDF. I don't know. Let's see. Eligible black voters as a population. Just give me a number. Ew, blacks? What the fuck? Thanks, Pew. 32 million Hispanics and 30 million. Okay, so 30 million. 10% of that would be 3 million. So 8% would be just short of 3 million. Yeah. You ever heard of Tree of Logic? Just as bad as Candace Owens? Yes. Yikes. Ugh. I don't know. The way they write this is strange. I'm not a fan of that. Anyway.
People like me, independent voices, people are not buying it anymore, and goes back to what we talked about earlier, the fatigue of victimhood. I mean, if you weren't tired of being just black this year, when everything, oh, you're struggling, you're just being black. I mean, at a certain point, I kept saying, Black America's going to wake up to this game. You can't just keep doing this every 4 years and popping around, and then Black Lives Matter, disappearing like a magic act, and then jumping back in, for the next election cycle. Eventually, black people are going to get smart.
These people are in the black communities self-organizing protests against police brutality. They did this under Obama as well. The only difference is Barack Obama supported them. This is just it's so wild. It's so fucking wild. This is not a victim, it's not a victim narrative. It's just understanding systemic racism. That's it. That's the whole thing. The idea is not you're a victim if you're black. The idea is, hey, everybody who's not black, please understand the lived experience of black individuals and then the systemic basis by which they are forced to experience whatever they experience. It's not like every black person has a shitty life. We understand that. That's not even the argument. The argument isn't that black people are hopeless, Candace. The argument is not that black people are have low expectations. The argument is that America is designed in a way through a systemic basis. So whether or not you're even racist, you can carry out things that harm the black community that were formerly based on the color of their skin. You just out loud said the word projects. What do you think that comes from, Candace? How in the world can you use the term the projects and then deny systemic racism? How? It's fucking real strange. Absolutely incredible. I mean, systemic racism is pretty fucking obvious. Do we have this? Is there an idiot in chat? I love idiots in chat. I love them. I can look like this and make you look like a fucking idiot. Isn't that nuts? A white liberal millennial explains systemic racism. Look at him. Look at him. Look at an idiot. Look at a dummy. All it took. Oh, I'm here, puss boy? Interesting. Very interesting. So why don't you think this is amazing? What I'm such a liberal. What do you think systemic racism is? Puss boy. I've been known to eat a box or two. Hostility is the first thing. Why? Because he's insecure. That's why. Nothing? Good? What is systemic racism? Does it exist? Do you think systemic racism exists? Of course not. Anything? Nothing? Wow, that was really slow. It's not going to be explained by a white millennial liberal, I'll tell you that. I'm asking you to explain it, guy who is not that, apparently. Is that it? So when I ask you a question, you go, well, you can't answer the question. That's your fucking big brain take. I stopped the stream to focus on your dumb ass for a second, called you out, and then your response was, well, nuh-uh. Wow. Fucking good one. That's beautiful. Saturdays are for the puss boys. Holy shit. Holy shit. I'm surprised. Anybody else surprised? Yes, there is systemic racism. She understands it better than you, cuck. Oh man, cuck got me. So, what she understands systemic racism. So Candace Owens flatly denies systemic racism exists. So how can she understand systemic racism without acknowledging that it exists? That's my question. She doesn't think the Southern strategy happened. The Southern strategy that they said was the Southern strategy. Absolutely amazing. Let's see. Go ahead. Come on. You got like two left. You got like two chats left. Let's see if we can do it, buddy. Come on. What's systemic racism? She could explain it better. She doesn't believe it. What is it then? Looking forward to it. I believe in you. No. She understands the concept is bullshit. Is there systemic racism? Absolutely. Is it explained well by the white liberal? Fuck no. She does it. She denies that systemic racism exists. You just disagreed with her, and then you called me a liberal, which is untrue. Which is amazing. Okay. Alrighty. Wow. That is a really good answer. What is systemic racism? Well, she could explain it. She doesn't believe in it. You are absolutely... The liberal concept of systemic racism is bullshit. She doesn't have a concept of systemic racism at all. I just okay, what is your non-liberal concept of systemic racism? Go ahead, Pine Sol. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. You got one more shot. You got to answer. You got to answer, Pine Sol. I have no faith in you whatsoever. But go ahead. What is your non-liberal, definition of systemic racism. Go for it. Let's see it. If you answer this question, you're gonna get a good little treat here. When the CIA is moving drugs from Colombia to inner city streets. Okay, all right, never mind. Leave. No. Holy fucking shit. Never mind. I never mind. Oh my god. Never mind. Okay. See ya. Holy shit. Systemic racism is the CIA doing the crack cocaine. Alrighty. But the drug war isn't. The drug war isn't. Okay. Dope. Fucking idiot. What a fucking idiot. That was a good example of it. I know. He just it's incongruent with his previous statement. He's gone. Wow. Thanks, Marcus Drake, for that big one describing the Southern strategy. Wowzers. All right, so that was a little in the middle, I guess. I'm too high to remember his previous statement. He said systemic racism doesn't exist in the liberal definition, and then he explained an aspect of the drug war. And said that was systemically racist. But said that the liberal definition, my definition of it, I mean, he's just a fucking, come on. Yeah. No. No. Not engaging. That person cannot think. If you can't make logical connections, you're fucking gone. You're gone. It's so stupid. Henry Strinkler, thanks for following. All right. Any more chuds? Feel free to speak up. But you better like have an idea of how to speak. Just have an idea of it. His brain is a non-stick pan. Pretty close.
And that's what's happening. You know, we're having conversations. We have our own platforms. This is the reason why the left is ignoring us, but at the same time pushing for social media censorship, because it's
no one's pushing for social media censorship.
Problematic when people like Candace Owens can gain.
Oh, don't talk in the third person, you fuck.
You know, millions and millions of followers, and you know they are no longer relying on the mainstream narrative about race, right? They have another option, and that option sounds a lot better than waking up every day and being miserable just because of the color of your skin and seeing yourself as a victim. Like,
oh my god, dude. Okay. So, the argument here is Candace Owens says things that sounds nice, so that is appealing, which is true. If you say something that sounds nice, it could be appealing. It's much like religion. Hey, when you die, that's not the end. You go to heaven and you get to see everybody. Everybody you've ever loved is going to be there. And you're going to live in eternity with only happiness forever and ever. Sounds pretty good on the surface. Don't think about it. If you think about it, it gets really fucking spooky. But anyway, Machamp Squad, thanks for following. But this is the same shit. You're selling people snake oil. You're selling people the snake oil of just ignore the systemic issues that people like us face simply for the hue of our skin. When you could instead stand on the backs of those that are part of your social group and part of your demographics, and then just try to make a buck and then further oppress them. Yeah, that's not great. But so she has this idea that the left is like, you're a victim. No, it's not about being a victim. Everybody is a victim of something. Everybody. It doesn't matter what it is. Candace Owens is a victim of being fucking stupid, and my victim, as we drop the corn bombs. However, everybody's a victim of something. Everyone understands that everyone has hardships. That's pretty much what victim means in this scenario. It just means you've also existed in life. True. Okay, so you experience things. As there been a study showing that a traditionally black American name will more likely shut down than one with a traditionally white European name, even if the resume has the same credentials. Yes. Yes, fucked up ankles are mine, for sure. Everybody's a victim of something here, right? insofar as that you have hardships. Everybody, we all agree. The difference is there are hardships that we just all face. There are hardships that are part of circumstance that aren't really pointed in any direction. And then there are these circumstances that certain specific demographics seem to ubiquitously face. Meaning very regularly, if you can't keep up with my vocab. Very, very regularly, the same people that look the same, that have a similar demographic information, experience the same thing. So if you look at like cis women, cis women have a very broad and constant experience of having their reproductive rights interfered with. I mean, trans men do too, but basically womb havers, constantly that is under attack, specifically by conservatives. Constantly, you see the black community has interesting. There's lots of poverty, there's lots of crime, there's lots of drug problems. Why is this? Well, you have two choices. You could assume that all black people are prone to poverty, crime, and drugs. Now, studies show that this is not the case. And I mean, just a lived experience. I mean, like, you just walk around and be like, oh, that's just a person. They happen to be black. They're not prone to anything. There's certainly some cultural differences here and there that might account for a certain percentage, a certain something somewhere. I don't know what it would be. Probably like I would bet you there are more black people that say enjoy black things of black culture like hip hop, more percentage like hip hop than white people like hip hop, stuff like that, cultural stuff. But like the real nitty gritty stuff, the stuff that actually matters, not that bullshit. Stuff that actually matters: poverty, crime, education level, stuff like that. Where does that come from? You have to assume that black people are significantly naturally disadvantaged to white people and Asian people and other. That doesn't seem right. So when you look into the numbers, you go, oh, well, that's not the case. If you have people in the same situation, drug use is the same, crime rates are the same, education rates are the same, aptitude is the same. So what explains the shift? What explains the difference? If you have black people and white people, and you take a study and they go, okay, they're both middle class, they're both educated, blah blah blah. They both have the same experiences all the way down. Poor white people, poor black people have similar experiences with crime and drugs. It all matches up per capita. The percentages wind up. It's a wash. There doesn't seem to be an innate difference between people. But what the rub is specifically, it almost wholly has to do with economic status. Thanks, Kaz, for getting one to Acid Black. The when you look at the studies, the sociologists that do these studies. Thanks, Ginger Snap. When you look at the sociological studies that have to deal with this, what bears out in the numbers is this: more black individuals are born into poverty and born into situations and communities that have higher police, right? Which perpetuates crime, which perpetuates, and because, again, we talk about it all the time here, but maybe you're new. Certainly, Candace Owens needs this information. This is all systemic. The civil rights movement, the civil rights laws weren't in place until 1968. You have people that have been moved to low-income housing. Low-income housing has lower property values. Lower property values have lower property taxes. Lower property taxes mean lower school funding. Lower school funding means less education. Less education means less ability for upward mobility in our capitalist system that really, really, really values college degrees. And if you can't do that, what are you going to do? You're going to be impoverished. And if you're impoverished, what are you going to do? You're going to commit crimes. And why are you going to commit crimes? Because you have to survive under capitalism, because we don't have systems in place that allow for survival without capital. Thank you, DJ Fusion, for giving one to Thomas. if you don't have enough capital to survive and you're doing crime, guess what's going to happen? They're going to put police in your neighborhood, and if they put police in your neighborhood, what's going to happen? You're going to have higher incarcerations. If you have higher incarcerations, now you have people that are going to be in jail. If you have people in jail, what are they not doing? They're not being out in their communities, being positive influences, being parents. They're not being taxpayers. They're not getting jobs. They certainly don't have any ability to go get education or another job or another opportunity. They're in jail, and if that happens, what continues? It just perpetuates itself. It just perpetuates itself because of the systemic issue. This is not, you put anyone in the system, you look at poor white communities, the same exact thing happens. Look at West Virginia. Same shit. Terrible health, meth abuse. I mean, you got terrible drug abuse in general. You have crime. The population density in white communities that do this just happens to be lower, so they get policed less. That's all it is. Del Profundo, thanks so much for the 4 months. Important note that systemic racism doesn't require individual racist actors to proliferate. Right, exactly. Which conservatives consistently lie about to push their agendas. Of course. Kaz84, thank you so much for giving one to AF in combat. So that's the difference. That's the idea. It doesn't need racist actors to occur. It just occurs. It was initially sparked out of racism, redlining, gerrymandering, Jim Crow laws, and so on, to cordon off black people in certain areas. And then, after those laws are off the books, what happens? It's not like black people had the ability financially to move out of those neighborhoods and into the suburbs or into the country, especially not into the country where they were disincentivized from moving to because of racism. So, what do you want these people to do? It doesn't need no overtly racist laws either. Of course not. Absolutely not. You could pass a shitty millage or not pass a millage and not fund a school. It shuts down and you fuck a community. It could just literally come down to that. Kaz84, again, thanks for giving one to Stone Legs. So, it's just ridiculous. Racial gerrymandering still exists? Oh, yeah. Ask Dave Crenshaw about that. Dan Crenshaw? Dan Crenshaw. Anyway.
It just feels better. I have a better product, right? You get to go out and be happy and live your life. You can do anything you want because this is the greatest country in the world, versus you are a victim, permanently a victim. Your life is going to suck forever because you were born with brown skin.
But I think
no.
I think it would be fair to say that black people face a different set of challenges than white people. They in many cases, right? And that
she really doesn't want to say yes to this. Kaz, again, thanks so much, ma'am. Thanks for getting one to Nim. Appreciate you. Thank you.
What way, specifically?
Well, I think that if you look at where I grew up in Long Island. In Long Island, a lot of my friends were able to inherit homes.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. He's doing a good.
Because their parents got loans after World War II, or their grandparents got loans after World War II.
Holy
to
shit!
Buy these houses, and they created the suburbs. I think a lot of black people were excluded, not only from those loans, but also from those communities, realtors that showed black people houses would be threatened, and it was tough. So the suburbs and the house, which seemed like the engine of wealth for a lot of middle class families.
What did I just say? This is totally 100% true. What happened? She is ignoring this 100%. Look at her. She's pissed off that he's even bringing this facts up. Holy fucking shit. I cannot believe it. What just happened to Tim Dillon?
Is right, building equity in something, ownership.
She's so mad.
Excluded from that. So I feel like there is a little bit of catch up being played, certainly.
There's not, because that doesn't
Yes, there is! Oh my God. How would that not play a part? He just activated his trap card. How can she get out of this? How in the world? She is livid right now.
Explain or account for the reason that black Americans during my grandfather's time did better than black Americans during my father's time.
Kaz84, thanks for the tier 1 sub. What did she just say out loud?
So I feel like there is
not, because that doesn't explain or account for the reason that black Americans during my grandfather's time did better than black Americans during my father's time.
That's not true. Wait, that's just a lie. What do you mean did better than? Wait. That's just a straight up lie. During your grandfather's time, Grandpappy couldn't go into a fucking store if he wanted to. He couldn't drink at the same water fountain as me. What are you talking about, dude? Kaz84 getting 5 tier 1 subs. Thanks, buddy. Sleepy, Sasquatch, Cracky Reads, Godzillion, and Red Fire Hand. You're crushing it today, Kaz. Thank you so much, man. This is absolutely delusional. Absolutely delusional from Candace Owens. Segregation alone means that there's not free markets. You couldn't own property. You couldn't choose your school. You couldn't choose where you lived. You couldn't choose your secondary education. I thought all of those things were necessary in a free American market to be great. So you don't need free markets to be great, Candace? Do you or do you not need free markets? That's just what I'm just asking.
So that defeats your entire argument, right?
Well,
there was more
but what do you mean?
ownership. So what happened from
But what do you mean by better is what he's going to say.
The 1950s through to the 1970s, that Black Americans became more impoverished, owned less homes and became
Fewer homes, but, who's counting, Candace?
more reliant upon the government structure. And the truth is we married the government, welfare. And now, whether you want to argue whether or not that was strategic and whether it's the fault of the government and Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Okay, so is there systemic racism then? So there's no systemic racism except a cabal within the government has created welfare to keep the black person down. Is it racist or isn't it racist? Well, it's not racist, but also it is. Make up your mind, you idiot. God, she's so fucking stupid.
For proposing the Great Society Act,
Right.
which is what married Black women to the government. That's an argument you can have, but you can't say it's because there's this long-standing Black Americans just couldn't break away. If you look at the 100 years following slavery, Black Americans did well. The fact that Black Americans performed better economically under Jim Crow laws than they are doing today, you just cannot point to a systemic racism. It has to do with choices.
You just said systemic It is... Okay. Is she saying that black individuals did better under Jim Crow because of the World War II economic boom? Like, is she confusing the economic boom post World War II in America that lasted until like the 60s? Is she attributing that to the success of black people? And what does she mean by better? I genuinely do not understand. What does she mean by better? Is she talking about Tulsa, Black Wall Street? I have no idea. Because guess what happened? A bunch of white people firebombed the shit out of Black Wall Street. I don't know. Like, what do you mean they did better? What does that mean?
The choices that we made to marry the government and the fact that we cannot outthink this government structure, that, Black Americans still believe in the victimhood and will take the handouts, that Black Americans will take to the streets and demand, AOC right now is saying we need to make sure, Black and brown people, the government pays them to stay home. Well, hello, welfare policies that, were the first thing that crippled Black America in the first place, that they're being reintroduced right now under COVID-19. Right. So I always say right now, we have a choice right now if we're going to give another 100 years to Black poverty by all of us saying yes to more government handouts. We don't need government handouts.
There is no way that Candace Owens would come and debate me, right? There's just no fucking way she would do that, right? She really should. Kaz, thanks so much for the 5 more tier 1 subs, man. You're going nuts tonight. Thank you so much. How many is that tonight? That's a lot, man. Appreciate you. Creature feature Baranch, Krolin the Unwise, Ola Monster, and Gildreed. Appreciate you. What are you at? You're at 15 tonight, my dude. Thank you so much, you legend. You mad lad. Candace Owens should debate me. Here's my... Hey, how about this? Candace, if you debate me, I will donate $100. $100. More money than you've ever seen in your life. $100. I will donate it to the charity of your choice. Wow. I know. And I'll buy you a pizza. $100 to the charity of your choice. There's no way she'd do that. What about $1,000? What about $1,000? I'll pay $1,000 for that. $1,000 to the charity of your choice, Candace Owens.
Good call.
You stick around and actually have a conversation with me for like 2 hours. 2 hours. It's $500 an hour. Come on. Critical Canadian, thanks so much for the 6 months. And I'll buy you a pizza. How do you feel when she donates it to Trump? I don't care. I don't care. We'll do more good than bad. $1,000 to Donald Trump during that after she gets destroyed by talking to me for 2 hours? You kidding me? Yeah, she can pick whatever chud group she wants. Doesn't matter. That $1,000 is just a drop in the bucket. We are one sub away from 1,500. Thanks so much, guys.
That's the biggest issue is more and more and more from the government. The government is not our parent. It's not our mother. It's not our father. It was an attack on the Black family. But if we don't wake up to that, we're never going to get ahead. Black people.
Wait. If we don't wake up to this, we're never going to get ahead. Candace, did you just agree that Black people are inherently behind in America? Interesting. Why is that? Dr. Gamble!
Good call.
Making it 1,500. Thanks for giving one to a delicious salad. Delightful.
Worst decisions out of every group in America.
Has she ever been debated ever? Is there a Candace Owens debate? Candace Owens debate. Is that a thing? No videos popped up. Not a single video. Cardi B slams Candace Owens. No. Just Twitter beef. She debates the cause of single motherhood by herself. I guess Candace Owens and Blair White debated social autopsy once. That's not really interesting, is it? Wow, surprise. Surprise. Anna Kasparian dead? I don't see it anywhere. Candace Owens confronted by no. When was America great? DL Hughley reacts. She offered Cardi B $250,000 to debate her. Wow. Cardi B is who you choose. How about you choose the fucking corn lady? I will take a fraction of that. I will take 10% of that. Easy. I'll take $25,000 to debate you. That's my normal fee. I'll do that if you want.
America, and you can compare us to who is the most successful group in America. It's not white Americans. So your argument about white Americans.
Who is this? Is it Asians? It's Asian. I forget who it is. Is it Asians? Some Asians, Indians do well.
They weren't given anything.
Indians do well. I'm Irish. We haven't done great.
Yeah. So nobody wants to talk about Asians because it defeats all of the arguments. Well, white people had it easy.
No one wants to talk about Asians. What do you? I'll talk about Asians. You want to talk about Asian success? Okay, Asian success, I guess, which is fucking weirdly racist. There's this. It's weird. Asian racism, like racism towards Asian people, specifically Japanese people in this scenario, because but there's Chinese people. So. Here's the things. For instance, a Chinese immigrant. Chinese immigrants immigrate through China often. Did you know that? And was the Korean nail salons or something like this too? The nail salons and the Chinese restaurants and stuff, and probably sushi places as well. There are programs by the government that the in conjunction with the American government, but the Chinese government, Japanese government, Korean government, they have agencies that help you transition to America if you choose to do so, and they give you very low interest loans on property so that you can open your own businesses. And so they help their citizens move to the United States, which is why you see a lot of first generation Asian immigrants owning things like restaurants and nail salons and stuff like that, because they're kind of low overhead, but everybody sort of needs the service kind of businesses where it's I don't know, it's incentivized, it's helped. Indian people also have a similar situation where their government will help, especially if they're a doctor or something. There's monetary incentive from their government that helps them out, so they're already a step ahead there. And then think about this. I mean, it's not like poor people immigrate across the country very often, or across the world very often, and are accepted, right? So this Asian American myth, it's so stupid. These are second and third generation Asian Americans whose first generation parents often were pretty decent economically speaking. This goes for South Asia as well. Not all the time. Obviously, there are situations where poor people get here and they do just fine, or they struggle just like everybody else. That's true. But there is a large population, which is where this myth comes from. The Japanese people are good at math, or stuff like that. So many Indian families buy motels for those reasons. They're considering a voting bloc by election analysts. Exactly. Yeah, and so. It's based on familial wealth and that sort of thing that's passed down, a thing Black Americans have not been able to experience for very long, relatively, in America. I mean, and visas tend to favor the better off. So this is a big problem. So when you talk about this, you might say, well, immigrants straight from Africa do better than an African American. Well, yeah. How do you think they afforded to come over here? Do you know how stringent our immigration laws are? It's hard to move to the United States. You have to be a skilled worker almost always. In the case that you're a refugee, or you marry in, or you have some relationship and you overstay, or you legally transfer in some miraculous way, but it doesn't usually happen. Like, we don't do this Ellis Island open thing anymore, where you can just bring whoever you want, which is why he said he's Irish. We're not doing very well. Well, yeah, the Irish were a subclass. They were a minority class on the East Coast in America when they immigrated here, and they were not given similar opportunities. So you don't see a ton of wealth in Irish communities until post World War II, when there was a huge economic boom. I'm sorry, I just studied the histories. It's just absolutely wild. I'm second generation Nigerian. My dad has his MBA. My mom is an RPH. We are upper middle class. Of course, exactly. And that's to be expected out of anybody who immigrates to the United States within the last fucking forever, especially post 9/11. You're going to be well off. You're going to be well vetted, and you're probably going to be high skill. Like, that's just how it works. It's wild. It's wild to me that Candace Owens is ignorant to this, or she ignores it. And if you brought that up to her, what is she going to say? Denies? I don't know. I would crush her. I would crush her in a debate. I would fucking destroy her. Frankly, you would destroy her. But I would really, really destroy her, okay? I really want this. I really, really want this. Candace Owens, anytime!
Here, because no one's going to say Asian people during World War II were Japanese people were in internment camps.
Right. Well,
yeah, but prior to that, they were allowed to have property. Isn't that strange?
That should be the title of your...
So why are they ranked above white Americans today?
I just defeated that argument. You don't get to be proud about that, Candace, you dum-dum.
The title of your next book should be "Nobody Wants to Talk About Asians" by Candace Owens.
I know. Exactly.
Yeah, I do understand, but as a white person, I always say to myself, I was a druggie. I drove around. I did not get pulled over nearly as much as my black friends. I feel like they 100% are more likely to get pulled over, more likely to go to jail. And we're doing a lot of the same things, right? irresponsible, reckless human being. And I just feel like I definitely had certain advantages that put me in a better position versus a kid, just the idea that I had money for a lawyer.
Look at her fucking face again. Look at her fucking face. She fucking hates listening to this shit.
So if there's a black kid who got caught smoking a blunt and went to jail, and my parents could maybe get me a lawyer to get me out of it, that to me is it's easier being white than if that's the right.
I really don't want to fucking hear her bullshit again, but we're going to.
See, but here's what's wrong. You just brought up a good point and then you racialized it. Okay.
But we can look at the data and see that it is racialized. You could see if you draw racial lines in the data, you can see that per capita, black people suffer the worst end of the stick insofar as our justice system is concerned. Cash bail, racist. Cash bail is so that you can keep poor people, mostly minorities, at bay and in prison. In jail. Awaiting trial. Not great. Cash bail is fucking dog shit. Amazing. Not only that, you have minimum sentencing for certain drugs. Crack is a great one. It's just cocaine, but it looks like this instead of powder. Like that's it's incredible. If you look down racial lines, you will see over and over the data shows, irrespective of any sort of number bending or anything, if you're just black or you're white for the same exact crime with the same exact record in the same exact circumstance, you are more likely to have a lenient sentence if you're white. That is a fact. That is a fact.
Okay. Rich people, yes. Economic privilege is a real thing. It didn't happen because you're white, right? So it didn't matter if.
But the economic privilege is there because you're white.
If you think that Puff Daddy's son is not going to be better off being pulled off if he has pot, right, than some poor white.
But Puff Daddy's son will be pulled over more often than Matt Dillon's son.
Kid, you're wrong. But you've accepted the argument that it's because of the color of your skin, not because of your economic circumstances.
Right.
It's because of your economic circumstances. Oprah Winfrey doesn't have any offspring, but I'll guarantee you that if they ever got into trouble, they'd be able to get out. Malia and Sasha Obama, who we know like to smoke pot, good for them. They're enjoying their teenage years, right? They are not.
I am not one of these pot smokers. I would never do the pot. I would never smoke the pot. I'm Candace Owens. What a fucking loser. What a fucking lame-o. Imagine hanging out with Candace Owens, and then she goes, I don't smoke the marijuana drugs. Shut up, loser. Get peer pressured, bitch. Like everybody else. Peer pressure. Puff and pass. I'm just kidding. You don't have to smoke if you're here. Someone gifted you. They did, Holly. Welcome, Bunny Rabbit.
Going to go through the same things that a poor white trash kid is going through.
Oof, white trash. Yikes.
Racializing.
Do you think we should
rich people have more privilege?
Do you think
that's common sense?
Do you think we should legalize weed so that we don't have this crazy drug war that's putting people in jail?
Come on, Candace. Very easy.
No. I mean, listen. I have to think through those arguments more because I do think that.
I have to consider who pays for my bills.
First and foremost, I think conservatives that pretend like pot is the worst thing in the entire world are just completely crazy and out of control. But the issue is the slippery slope argument, and we know that's real.
Oh my God! Is she literally using DARE? The DARE drug program right now? Is she literally saying it's a gateway drug? I am gonna smash my face in with a wine bottle. I am going to pulverize my own visage live on camera to
because right now in California, what are they doing? Trying to, with heroin and methamphetamine, they're trying to make it so you just get a ticket and keep going. So the problem with the left is that you never just stop at one thing. You're not like, okay, you legalize pot and they're going to be done, right?
Oh,
they're like
God.
already in California pushing for decriminalizing.
Why are you talking about California when was it Washington literally did that? Wait. I'm going to type it. Was it Washington or Oregon? Legal heroin. Like, it just happened. It was recently. Oregon. They decriminalized small amounts of heroin and other street drugs. They decriminalized it. They're not distributing it. They're decriminalizing it. Possession of drugs such as heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamine will no longer be punishable by jail time, but instead amount to something similar to a traffic ticket. This is Oregon, not California. Fun fact, Candace, dare cause more issues with drugs than it fixed. True. I mean, possession of larger amounts could result in a misdemeanor charge. Look, this is good. What this does is this keeps people out of prison. This keeps it's a step towards destigmatization of addiction, which is what we want to do. We don't want people that are addicted to these drugs, heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamine. We don't want these people stigmatized so that they don't seek care and that they just live out their life, addled by terrible addiction to highly addictive drugs. It's not their fault. I mean, it is to a certain respect. Of course, there's personal responsibility involved. And we all know, like, if you do a drug and it has an effect, then you did the thing, and that's okay. But a lot of these people are uninformed. Because you just tell them drugs bad. You don't tell them what it's about, what it's like. You don't tell them what addiction is like, what coming down is like. They don't tell you how the addiction works. They don't explain the pricing. They don't explain the sensation of doing the drug. They don't explain any of this shit, right? And like you want to criminalize heroin, Candace Owens, but you still want private insurance companies to be able to dole out opioids like it's nobody's business just because they're making a buck. Like I genuinely do not understand this kind of fucking mindset here. Okay, the idea here is that if you want American citizens to be better, well, first of all, being better, being in prison for having a substance and putting it in your own body certainly doesn't seem like freedom to me. So they're doing something to their own body. Now, you would argue that, yeah, but they do that to their own body, but they commit crimes to facilitate the habit. Sure, because we criminalize it. If we decriminalize it, it's not a crime anymore. If we have health care that is readily available to these people, because almost universally, if you are addicted to some sort of drug, you have a poverty issue or you live in an impoverished area, right? Almost universally, not always. There's certain occasions where people just, get fucked up on stuff and they have the money to pay for it and it's not an economic issue. But an economic issue nonetheless means that they have access to health care. If you destigmatize addiction, it means that they can go talk about it without this sort of social pressures of being addicted to something. I mean, just listen to alcoholics. They have to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. We can't even just talk about that. We imagine being addicted to heroin. Like, people say it isn't, but marijuana is a gateway drug. People hear marijuana and heroin are equally bad, try marijuana, realize it's not bad, and then hit the heroin. I mean, I don't think any studies really bear that out, but I would agree that probably the psychology of saying marijuana is as bad as heroin and then doing marijuana and having it be not that big a deal. I understand that logical pathway and that makes sense. I don't think the studies do bear that out. Yeah. Psychology side, it makes sense. I think you make a logical perspective. I think that tracks, basically. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to stigmatize these drugs. They exist. People are gonna do them, right? Decriminalize them, legalize them in some cases. Psilocybin is a great example of something that we should legalize. Magic mushrooms. Now, I agree that we shouldn't be doing it like, Don't just be driving around on fucking shrooms. I agree. We need to set limits. You got to be in your home, have a trip sitter, or we could do heroin hotels where there's medical professionals nearby, and you could slowly, hopefully, wean yourself off of these hardcore drugs. That's a thing that we could do. Like, there's a lot of things, but the way to not handle it is to just take these people, that are already disenfranchised, that are already having problems, dealing with addiction issues, taking them, putting them in prison where they can already get the drugs anyway. And even if they can't get the drugs, when they get out, they're going to be introduced back into the drugs because the only way for them to make a living, because they're felons now, is for them to go back into the drug game and make money that way, the way they knew how to make drugs before. And the idea, it's no surprise that recidivism among drug offenders is so high because, of course. And not only that, there's not going to be any sort of cessation in regards to their addiction to heroin or something when they're reintroduced to it in the streets every day. Like, come on. I mean, it's just fucking wild to me. Just wild to me that we're taking a reactive instead of a proactive position on this just because you happen to vote for people that have red in their name during the election season. It's absolutely fucking dog shit. It's low IQ, scaredy cat bullshit, uninformed, whine, piss baby nonsense. Candace Owens, you suck.
Methamphetamine and heroin. And this is now an argument that we have to fight. So it's hard to find what the right answer is when you know that it's never enough to do one thing.
Decriminalize them all, legalize many of them. That's the answer.
Meaning a couple of years ago, it was all about just gay marriage, just gay marriage. Right. I mean, the second the Supreme Court passed gay marriage, we were on trans rights, and it's been...
Well, yeah, we're on trans rights. Are you against trans rights, Candace? I thought you were for freedom. Imagine being against the freedom of somebody else being able to express themselves the way that makes them most happy. Just because you want to wear these gross-ass turtlenecks and you want to look like a little fucking Mormon doesn't mean that everybody else has to. If I want to wear this fucking corn suit around and you call me fucking, I don't know, Dr. Cornhusk, okay, with the pronouns he, him, you're goddamn gonna do it because that's what goddamn makes me happy. That isn't what I want, but if it was, just fucking do it, bro. Who gives a shit? I call you Candace Owens, and against all of my better judgment, I agree that you're a human being that deserves human rights. Even though I want to disagree, I still respect that for you. Any person who wants to live their life in a way that makes them happy, as long as it doesn't negatively affect other people, is fine. And how does being trans negatively affect other people? Aesthetically? Aesthetics aren't negatively affecting people. Fuck you if that's your, like, there's literally nothing you could do. If you say, well, what about the bathrooms? Turns out, whether you accept trans people or not, they will still shit. Oh, wow. Did you know trans people have digestive systems and sometimes they piss and shit? And if they don't do it, oh my God. Wow. If they don't do it at the Macy's fucking public bathroom, guess where they're going to do it? Hopefully on your fucking face. Wait a second. Don't do that. That's actually bad. Poop in their shoes, though. Poop in Candace Owens' shoes. Hashtag poop in Candace Owens' shoes.
Shoved down our throat, and now we're at...
Oh, trans issues are shoved down your throat. Oh, you're so sad. Other people existing is shoving them down my throat. Fuck off, bitch. Fuck off.
Kids picking their gender and bathroom signs need to be all inclusive, and men need tampons in their restroom.
What if I need a tampon though, Candace? Have you considered? Okay, obviously, look. Most people that go to the bathrooms are going to be cisgender, but check it out. What if I got a bloody man pussy? What if my bussy is bleeding, Candace? Do you want me to go to the women's bathroom to get a bussy pad? I didn't think so. You wouldn't want me walking in there while you're taking a dumper. I suspect that maybe it'd be easy to put some fucking tampons in the bathroom next to the urinals so that my bussy doesn't bleed all over the floor. Not to mention, my cis fellas out there, sometimes in the summertime, there's a little ass leakage. Maybe a tampon would work. I don't know. Hey, I don't know. Fucking stop it. This is stupid. Well, I don't want trans people in my bathroom. They're in the bathroom already. They've been there the whole time. You just didn't know it, because it doesn't matter. It never has. God, I hate you. Ah! Fucking fucking stop it. This is stupid. Well, I don't want trans people in my bathroom. They're in the bathroom already. They've been there the whole time. You just didn't know it, because it doesn't matter. It never has. God, I hate you.
So, I mean, I don't know where I stand on it completely because I understand.
But isn't there a little bit of a, listen, the slippery slope argument certainly makes a lot of sense.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, Tim Dillon. It does not make a lot of sense. Tim Dillon, it makes no sense. Slippery slope arguments never make sense. I'm getting worked up. I'm getting some wine after this.
But isn't there so much pain happening because of nonviolent drug offenders being in jail for so long? It's disproportionately affected people that are, as you said, economically disenfranchised. Lots of them happen to be black and Hispanic. I just feel like there's so much pain. There's so many real world consequences to that particular law that we should, especially when it is legal in certain.
Criminalize it.
Yeah, it is legal in certain parts of the country, and people are becoming millionaires. Yeah, okay. So we can
decriminalizing is different than saying making it legal. And I agree with you. I think we spend a lot of time, the idea of anyone being in prison for smoking pot is just ridiculous.
Oh, finally, I get to agree with her in the literal last second of the video. The literal last second of that video, she said something correct, and then it ended. That was the only proper thing she said the whole time, and it was literally at 10 minutes and 49 seconds. Can you fucking believe it? Wow. Candace Owens, you are a dog shit person with little to no understanding of, frankly, fucking anything. You don't understand systemic racism. You don't understand the United States in general. You don't understand drugs. You don't understand drug laws. You don't understand fucking legalization. You don't understand fucking the plight of normal people. You just are, you're brain dead. You're absolutely the fucking dumbest. I do not like you. And frankly, I don't think anyone should. Candace, you should debate me. Do it, coward. You'll never fucking do it, will you? Will you? You're a coward.